Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, CARICOM nationals, anywhere you are in the world, and you manage to hear our program, welcome. The number to call is 4420175. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. And most important, you could introduce the topic and you could change the topic. We encourage you to punch. We're on for 1 hour. You just pick up the telephone and you punch. You can ask questions if you want. We express our opinion on any issue we are comfortable with, particularly politics. Opinions are not facts, they are opinions. And if we get new information, we're changing the opinion. We are a bit concerned. Remember, the number to call is 4420175. It's good to open bat or open bowl. You see, we the ordinary folks must be very careful when you listen to some of the individuals from academia. They have the ability to present excellent papers, make excellent speech, and write good books. But it doesn't mean they're practical. It doesn't mean they make sense. And it does not mean it will improve or better your life conditions. If you don't feel it, don't bother with it. You must feel it. Now the Caribbean, and I think it's important that we know, the Caribbean and Latin America contribute less than 10% of the carbon emissions in the world that contribute to global warming. The whole Caribbean, including Latin America, contributes less than 10% of the carbon emissions in the world that contribute to global warming. Now, if the Caribbean and Latin America contribute less than 10%, imagine what the OECS contribute. And imagine what Grenada contribute. We spend a lot of time and a lot of energy on global warming and the environment, etc., etc. Sometimes I wonder what is our objective. I agree that we should lead in this discussion, but the purpose of it must for the betterment and development of our people, not at the expense of our people. If you was going to select 25 countries in the world that contribute more to global warming, none of the islands in the Caribbean and Latin America would be there. But I find some of our organizations in the Caribbean, they're distorting the practical truth. Now, sometimes there are a lot of truth, you know. Sometimes truth is relative. Sometimes truth depends on what you want to achieve. One of the biggest challenges we have in the Caribbean for disadvantaged people is the competitiveness in the marketplace. Their competitiveness on the job market. the quality of jobs that we hold so that we could eat. We could provide housing for our people. We could live with dignity. We could make certain that our children have a chance. Now, the University of the West Indies is an institution all of us must admire. I consider it as should be one of the think tanks in the Caribbean, making recommendations and coming up with suggestions to improve the life of the ordinary man. Are they doing that? I don't think so. The University of West Indies have brought quite a lot of recognition to the Caribbean as one of the top universities in the world. But are they helping the ordinary man, the disadvantaged people, the people who find it more difficult to get jobs on the job market? Our economy in Grenada and a number of Caribbean islands have moved from agriculture and fish to other areas. And we watch our sons and daughters getting left behind. We see the amount of effort, the amount of time that the University of the West Indies and now the ECCB, the monetary authority in the OECS, led by our own local boy Timmy, spend on the environment, spend on carbon emission. But I told you, less than 10% of the carbon emission that is produced in the world is produced by the Caribbean and Latin America. So the OECS must produce 0.0 something. But what's about improving our people's competitiveness on the job market? That is what's going to bring bread and butter into our country. Look at Jamaica. Look at Trinidad. Look at other islands in the Caribbean. The growing level of difficulties that we have to find jobs. The jobs that we get is menial. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, my brother, welcome. Good to hear your voice.
Well, I remember some time back you said that you was able to mention 3 great leaders in this country. But a question I want to ask, would you say that Maurice Bishop did anything worthwhile for the poor of this country? I asked that question because I run away at the early stage, you know. I didn't get, they said me as a conga, I didn't get locked up. I didn't have time to get locked up. I had time to make it for Trinidad. I know this present administration don't love the poor. I want to know if Maurice Bishop had anything to identify with the poor. I don't know. Maurice Bishop regime. Because a gentleman told me that he had people Maurice Bishop lock up and they still love him. I want to know under what circumstances they still love him. And they was in jail. I don't know how to believe that. I don't know. He said first he was likable. You have people that make 2 years, a year and months in jail and when they still say he was a good man. Do you share that sentiment? I don't know.
Yes, caller, thank you. Caller, I agree that Maurice Bishop was an impactful leader. But I would not consider him as a great leader. He was very impactful. So the 3 most impactful leaders in Grenada was Eric Geary, Maurice Bishop, and Kit Mitchell. But Maurice Bishop, although he was impactful, he was not a good leader. But Maurice Bishop was an orator. He speaks well. And at the point, and he speaks on subject matter that aroused the interest of developed countries and the intellectuals. And it brought hope in the eyes of the ordinary man. So, for instance, Maurice Bishop would say, your children are the flowers of the nation. And he said that with such impact and force. And he started the pioneer. And some of the children in secondary schools come home with guns. They come home with a gun. Not all, but some of the leaders of the group. So they had great love for Bishop. Imagine young men and women had power. They had guns. They could have slapped up some of the people in the community that they felt that was petty bourgeois. So that power empowered them. And they felt good. One Rastaman told me he felt like somebody in the days of Bishop. He said he went to jail eventually. But he felt like somebody. He said, no, I feel like nobody in the community. He said people watch him, he's nobody in the community. But during Bishop days, he said he had his gun, he had power. And the demise of the revolution brought him into a community that was hostile against the people who they believe was not supportive of Bishop then. So yes, there is a lot of people who love Bishop because he was an orator. He was a handsome man, tall, red, handsome man. Eventually, he tricked the Rastafarians. He deceived them. But some of them still long for his oratory skills. I don't think he did much, if anything, for the poor of the country. A number of people had the opportunity to go to get scholarship in other countries. And they came from the proletariats. And that is something significant. But Maurice Bishop sent the children from the proletariats to study certain subjects with the hope that they will come back and run the country. And the children from the petty bourgeoisie, he did not want them to run the country. So he sent them and study to be professionals, doctors, engineers, agricultural scientists. But he did not send them to do politics, mass communication, and others. This group was supposed to come and work in the public service and not in the as political directors. So Maurice Bishop was the greatest deceiver that ever passed in this country. But his name would continue to ring because of the impact he had in the Caribbean and Africa and in the international media and space. Because he spoke on issues that was relevant and pertinent then. What he did in Grenada was to try to introduce Marxist-Leninism at all costs. Maurice Bishop used to say on the radio, if you say they say, he locking up thee. Could you imagine? A few agricultural officers, several, went to jail for a couple days because they had a meeting to revive the Goat Society. Irrespective of all the talk, nothing significant was going on in agriculture. We had a Goat Society, and they said, let's revive it. And they had a meeting, and the next morning, they was in jail. These individuals was paranoia. They was afraid. Phobia take them over. And they was looking for counter from all around. I don't know if it's Kenneth Kaunda or one of them that told them, The revolution is like a serpent. It eats its children. Tell them, don't look from outside, it's within. Your enemy is within. They only played it once on radio. But I know people that learn the whole speech from listening to it once. So yes, Maurice Bishop was impactful. He was so impactful that some of the young bloods in Grenada that don't know the history of this country want to tamper with his spirit. Maurice Bishop was not a Christian. He walked away from Christianity. And most of the individuals who was in the forefront of the revolution was turning their back on Christianity. Because based upon the Chinese leader, that is the opium of the people. He was hostile to even the traditional churches that support him. He was hostile to them. Bishop Sidney Charles had a rude awakening. And he had to send to Rome for help. And Rome sent somebody. Good, strong, Potole Greek Catholics may know who Rome sent. Maurice Bishop was not a good leader, but he was an impactful leader and an orator. Anytime he under pressure, he bottled. He couldn't stand pressure. And that's what one of the challenges that he had. The individuals question his humanizing attitude. But when an atheist loses his respect for Christianity, yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
I hear you mention just now that Maurice Bishop didn't do nothing to develop agriculture. I wouldn't believe that, and that's a lie. What you said, sorry to say that. Because where I working in and I living in my village, at that time, Maurice Bishop said the land for the landless are what? And he give everybody a piece of land. People have land all in the mountain. They used to walk it bamboo, they cut it down. A lot of people used to grow a lot of different things like Christophine, plantain, banana, orange, grapes, everything. Marketing board used to leave town and come up and take the load up here and go down with it. Or at a time they say marketing board stop come because they say the road was so bad because the time the thing reaching town, all the things that them start bruising up. And from there on, they had that road was to fix during the revolution time. Maurice Bishop do a lot. He used to send doctors on a certain estate where I work to look after people in the morning, take their pressure, take their blood test. If anything wrong with them, then they have to go and see another doctor, a surgeon, or whatnot. He used to take the CPE. I know I have family that teaching in the Anglican school. After they don't teach in the night, they used to come up right in my village and teach people who couldn't read and write, who leave school early, who get pregnant and leave school early, because he said everybody have a right to education. After Eric, after they took over the revolution, he said free education. Children that used to have to pay to go in secondary school, he bring it free. My children I could have able to send them because if I didn't see those things to say in there, because I know the revolution do a lot of good too. They had an ups and a downs. Bishop was a good man. I don't say he was a perfect man, but he had a lot of wicked people behind him. The same set of people what saying Bishop wasn't good. This is the same set of people that go and help Bishop throw over Gary. And after they didn't get what they want because they want Bishop to take in somebody has 2 houses, take one and give them. They have 2 cars, take one and give them. So all these things didn't work out. A lot of different things they turn against Bishop with. People must give jacket. If a man do good, say he do good. Not every time he do one bad, he must always complain about the one he do. He do a lot of good. And I know the good he do. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Colin. And I like your spirit and your energy. But you must listen back to me tape and see if I said he has done nothing for agriculture. Maurice Bishop was a great orator. He spoke well, and people liked him. And I believe he was the most loved leader in Grenada. You see, when you speak about Gary, a certain group of people like Gary. When you speak about Kit Mitchell, a certain group of people like Kit Mitchell. He's a polarizing figure. But Maurice Bishop attracted love from every cross-section in Grenada. Even those people in jail. Even those Rasta that he treated worse than what Bustamante did in Jamaica. They love Maurice Bishop. And a lot of his programs was a sham. But the difficult... Yes, caller, welcome.
Sorry to call back.
Yes.
What happened?
No, don't sorry. I'm glad you called back. Go ahead.
After Bishop went in America, where he went and have meeting, and he came back, they put Bishop under house arrest. Nobody couldn't hear the address, nothing, because that was an unusual thing. Nobody don't hear him. Then they come up in Florida, right in Florida here, where I live in. A certain man, they come and take all militia guns. They say they have to go and clean it and exchange it and whatnot. That time they're planning what they had to do. They go Egon. Then he come, me and my aunt was right outside there. He come up, he walk up the road. We say, well, wait now. How we don't hear nothing about the Prime Minister? We know he go and we doesn't hear him. That is unusual. He said the Grenadian people have Bishop as a Papa God. And Bishop make a mistake and what and what. Then they come and they have a meeting in the Anglican school in Guelph. They say to tell the people the mistake that Bishop make. When my children's father went down there the night and he go, after he come back so quick, I say, how you come so quick? How the meeting pass? You say meeting break up, who want to fight, who want to this, who want to that, because everybody go to hear the mistake the leader make, and they can't come out with nothing solid, no mistake, nothing. Up to now, Bishop there, people go in jail. You never hear nobody say what is the big mistake Bishop make. But what I find funny, he was the leader, and if he tried to kill somebody, and he tried to do something, I find Austin and Cora, who was in the top, could have come out and say, well, look, the leader, look at what he does, and look at what he says. So we had to jail him for life, or we had to execute him. So then Grenadians could have know up to now. You can't even hear nothing what he does. But Bishop was a wicked man, Bishop was a bad man. Tell us what he do. Say exactly what he do. You see? This is the thing what I taught
Grenada, you want me to tell you some of the things he did?
Well, you could say it. He did no all the years. Listen, all the years Bishop
I thought you want me to tell you.
No, you could say it after I don't speak. After all these years, Bishop died. All this thing you hear coming up, you didn't hear people coming out and saying nothing and saying all kind of things.
Because he said he's going to jail you if you speak.
Because Mr. Dickman run for election and he called Bishop's name. And maybe they run for election and the younger people must get to know certain things and they talk about Bishop's name. That must have an influence of winning the election. So that would bring the thing. But what I'm saying, if Grenada people know that the other party, I have nothing against the NMP party, I is the NDC, and I have nothing to do, I have no fault with none of the party. Anybody doing good for the country, I'm happy and I'm glad. Right? But what I'm saying, Grenadians don't know what they want. They have Mr. Gary, they're eating good. They come, they have Bishop eating good. They come and have Dr. Kitty good. No, they come, we don't know what we want. Anytime you see we vote for something and we don't get in what we want, we turn in. You go see next election what will happen.
Okay.
Go here.
All right, so that. Yes, and that is the passion you evoke when you speak about some of the impactful leaders. If you speak about Gary, some Garyite, fine on all plugs. If you speak about Bishop, some fine on all plugs. And if you speak about Kit, some fine on all plugs. That is the passion that is aroused in our country when we speak of these impactful leaders. But my issue, we have leaders that contribute immensely to the people in the lower income group. For instance, Eric Gary built 28 schools in 13.5 years. St. George's University, pre-primary education, land for the landless, independence. You see how we could bang it. And Maurice Bishop was an orator. You had a number of people got scholarships to go into East Germany, etc., countries. And that was good. A lot of the mass organization and programs that Maurice Bishop had was a sham. It was a sham. But because of he's as a great spokesman, and nobody couldn't challenge him then. Because he said, if you say, they say, you're going in jail. And I asked people, did the end justify the means? Over 3,000 people was in prison without charge, without trial, without an opportunity to defend themselves. People were castrated. People died. How could we justify that and say he's a great leader? How come? How could we? The newspaper was shut down. We were not able to express ourselves. Bishop say, if you say, they say, you're locking up there. And I said, when some of the people in agriculture was not satisfied with what's going on, they wanted to revive the goat society. They never thought that would have offended Bishop. But they heard agriculture, they heard people having a meeting. Nothing government building in a house. They arrest all the individuals, and for about 48 to 96 hours, agriculture officers was in jail. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome. Good to hear you.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, go right ahead.
You're speaking about my bishop. The NMP party was than my bishop. What are they do, KB?
You can, caller.
You can't talk about KB.
Caller.
Yes.
You really want to go in that direction? If you want to go, I'll let you go.
Listen to me.
What has been done? Caller.
That KB.
What?
They want KB to say nothing against the NMP party. So they're suspending him. So KB leave the post and he go. All of them bit. I listened to the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, Kit Mitchell, in the press conference. Can you imagine the Prime Kit Mitchell lying on your own self? The Prime Minister make it clear. He don't take the party in no election. He give up leadership. He make it clear. Oh God. He said, give it the last one, that's the last. When he lose no hair yesterday, he come back and buy him if the people want him. Well, what kind of stupidness is that? If the people want it. If you don't want it, you don't want it. What do the people can give so? Because he clarified that what you want. From Mr. Pierre, keep the stop lying on himself. You don't know what he said. He's a good day.
Yes, caller. Caller, you know what is sad and unfortunate? Your expression now, Dick Mitchell have to face those expressions. Kit Mitchell in the politics long. And Kit Mitchell is one of the most tolerant leaders to criticism. And Dick Mitchell and the other members of the NDC have to walk that path. I do hope you would have been a little bit more tempered, because some of them NNP hothead, they're thirsty to take you onto. But we must be tolerant as a people, and I don't want them go down that route. Yes, caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, welcome.
Why is only one man some of these Grenadian people hate? What Kit Mitchell do them?
I'll tell you why. Caller.
The NDC people come in government by lies. They win the election by lies. You didn't see that?
Yes, thank you. Caller, I'll tell you why Kit Mitchell is such a polarizing figure. Now, Eric Gary and Kit Mitchell is the only two political leaders in Grenada that have won elections back to back to back. Only two. They are the most successful political leaders in Grenada. So they have attracted the wrath of the enemies. Now, Kit Mitchell won, beat up NDC on 3 occasions, winning all the seats. That has never been done before in the Caribbean or the Commonwealth to the same political party. So anytime a hardline NDC hear the word Kit, all he forays and he ready to attack. And that wouldn't go away. It wouldn't go away. And the NNP supporters must understand it's a question of political jealousy. Keith Mitchell has been very successful as a leader. And he has drawn the sword of the NDC to the extent that the NDC is hostile to the people who generally support Keith. He introduced the Imani program after 2008, 2013, and the economy was in free fall, unemployment high, and the National Democratic Congress was selling assets to meet current expenditure. NNP won 15 seats, and in under 1 year, over 3,000 young people was employed in the Imani program. That is a taunt to the NDC. And that is why they hate the word Imani so. Every time the National Democratic Congress see Imani, they want to destroy the program. And then later on, Keith back it up with 10,000 toilets. 10,000 toilets for people in the lower income group. That one even take me by surprise. And I appeal to the Jamaica Prime Minister to implement it in downtown Kingston. And the NDC have difficulties with that. 1 year after NDC come in power, they fired 3,000 Grenadians. 3,000 Grenadians. They take back the keys from people who were given housing. It's a group of people with no scruple. You know. Imagine you gave people low-income house the keys and they go and take it back. They have hundreds of houses to give their supporters. You know. And they promise to build 500 houses per annum. I don't know if it's in each parish or if it's in the whole country. I give them the benefit of the doubt. 500 houses. Yet, they go back and take a few keys from the people in Carriacou. That is the kind of group of people we live in. Some of the mouthpiece on the radio is only putting out venom and hate. Why do I may say that? They curse the church. They say the church sucking the anus of a political party. It was difficult for me to understand why the National Democratic Congress did not disassociate themselves from that statement. Instead of that, they give a plaque to their mouthpiece. The motivational speaker, he is calling Grenadians nasty people. He said, give armchair to them. And he's identifying villages as classless. And the Prime Minister of Grenada has not disassociated himself from such obnoxious and objectionable political statements. That is why, political jealousy. That is why. And the number to call 4420175. You know, the environmental issue is always not so much a very attractive issue. And that is why the ECCB and the University of the West Indies prefer to gallivant on these issues and provide great academic paper. But in your mind, you must know that Latin America and the Caribbean contributes less than 10% of the carbon emissions to global warming. Imagine what the OECS are Grenada. The Monetary Fund, the monetary authorities, the ECCB, and the University of the West Indies should play a greater role in trying to address the challenge we have of the competitiveness of our working population on the job market. The National Democratic Congress says, don't help them. If you help them, they go stay poor. And some of the supporters regurgitating the venom is saying, let it pound stone in the river and let it starve. And the Prime Minister of Grenada has not disassociated himself from the statements. Instead of that, he is trying to entrench restorative justice, its practicality and its workability on the ground is just political vengeance. What society are we going to make? What society are we going to make? If these men who swallow the grammar book could speak English remarkably well and present paper, every paper look as a thesis, but they cannot come up with practical, tangible, sensible suggestions to make our people more competitive on the job market, then we're heading for Haiti, we're heading for Jamaica, we're heading for more social decadence. The direction we are heading is for higher unemployment and a wreck economy. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, people look at the calling today, no?
Yeah, we had some fire already, so nothing wrong with that. To make some contribution.
Well, you know why, when I look at certain things that are going on in Grenada, the government, Grenadians changing government every year. Every election, they want to change our government. No government could make promises in 5 years and could fulfill all those promises.
But Color, that is not the truth, you know. St. Lucia, over the last 20 years, St. Lucia, every political party lose election, you know. In Pakistan, 47 years now, no political party make a term.
Okay.
So we have to hold politicians not to make outrageous statements, not to knowingly lie. And what happened in this case with the National Democratic Congress, they went in a room, what I call the laboratory, and they planned lies. Oh. So they deceived the public. They know, even if Dick Mitchell did not know, Comrade Dennis Cornwall and Lennox Andrew knew, you could not have made all these people permanent. They knew that you must have a parallel public service. They lied.
Well, I listened to a meeting, not this last election, one before, because I doesn't go to meeting, but I have me radio and I listening each and every all of them. I hear that statement making the NNP party saying when they get into power, all young people going to get work, all the boys, everybody that's on the block going to get work. And I say, you hear? Tell me something.
And Carla, did you agree with that?
Listen, I would have glad if that could happen.
Then why is it?
I don't agree with it because I know
so
government
so
cannot employ everybody.
If NNP did it years ago, and NDC is supposed to do it now?
Well, and NDC can't do it because government can't employ everybody.
Well, they knew that. They was aware of that.
Well, I know, and no politician will fool me in certain things.
Well, Carla, what the NDC did was to sit down and plan lies.
Well, even though you plan lies and you come and tell people, they know what they have. They don't know what they go get. If you need money, you get in work. You in certain areas in the government, you get in work. Why you want to vote out the government? And you,
But caller,
why?
they told the Imanis, they apologized to them, you know. They say what we did you before was a political mistake. This time, we will make you permanent.
Well, I don't know, but all politicians, it never 100%.
Caller, we're talking about NDC now and the lies.
Yeah, well, let me tell you.
Otherwise, the country will not improving.
Well, you will never improve because all politicians does lie. All. I don't think not one. All of them.
Yes, but
caller, they must make a little lie.
Caller,
No topic.
you could make a little lie, but in the history of Grenada, the National Democratic Congress always planned to lie.
What will you see me? Since I know I'm young, 16 years I working. I make me children, 5 children. Their father was there. After his father died, I had to struggle to them.
Well, you're very lucky. Some woman make 13 children, no father.
I work and I estate. I send my children to school. I had 2 jobs. I used to work from 8 to 4. When Bishop called me, put it from 8 to 3. I used to work from 8 to 3. When I got 3 o'clock, I had to run in another job to work, to send them to school. Plus, I had to build me a little house. I have a mansion, a little 2-bedroom house, a boat house.
The children did well in school?
I did all that on my own. Eh?
No man to help you?
Well, the father was there.
But you don't help?
Well, I get help from the family, from the aunts and grandmother.
Well, don't say nobody don't help you. The
When I
man
say that, I didn't say nobody don't help me, but what I'm trying to tell you, I was a hard worker, and up to now I'm working and never stop work.
And the children did well in school?
Yes, all of them done very well by the grace of the Almighty God.
Yeah.
They could write their name, they could keep a little job, they could do something. And I always telling them where I come from, and I don't want them to come out like me. I want them to be in front. So when I get older, what I can do, they could help me do it. And I never wait on government. I mean, yes, I'm happy and I'm glad if the government could help people who are willing to help.
So you don't believe government should help the people in the lower income group?
Listen what I'm saying. I am saying I will be very happy if the government helping people, those who can help themselves, and they're willing to help themselves. But you have some people, they don't want to work, they just want to sit down and depend on government. They want a boat to put in their house, the government.
They go break your house. They go thief. They're going to open their business, what scholars say, open your business.
Let me tell you something. What I'm trying to tell you, when you make your children, you tell them what it is. When they reach a certain age, what they have to do and what they have to do. You only love somebody when you could help them to help themselves. You know everything, if you go to give children, they will never know what it is.
So you believe the government giving people too much things?
I don't say again.
You support the government to take out the $150 from the oil?
No, I'm not talking about it. But what I'm telling you, I know, I'm speaking from certain areas, what I know. Some people, what people get in a little bushing program by the road? What I could do?
All right, caller, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, caller.
That's not a fruit here.
Caller, he could cock a hole. Thank you.
He could cock a hole, thank
yeah. Yes, a temporary job could cock a hole. Caller, the job by the road could prevent women from losing their dignity. Caller, the job by the road could cause a man not to rob, not to go and gamble, not to thief. It gives him hope. The government of the day have a responsibility. The government have to seek the interests of the people in the lower income group. Caller, the ECCB and the University of the West Indies. Welcome, caller. Punch.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, Punch.
When you compare the NMP in government and the NDC in government,
there is no comparison, caller.
When you compare,
there is no comparison. The NDC is a group of vultures that always attack. Don't compare them. They always attack the people in the low income group.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Right? So, in your NMP, they find jobs for the poor class of people. And more people employ. They could take care of the family. Of the families up here. I'm just saying, you see, the policies of the two governments is totally different. It's like and cheese. You have one government in power. The employment rate will be gone down. When the next one in the NDC government, the unemployment rate gone up, because what is the policy? Is to get rid. Is to get rid of people who work in. I'm saying, when you look at what you are seeing again, a group of vultures that they came there just to prey upon the less fortunate people. Because what you find happening, instead of they reach out and help, as all government duties in any country is to help the less fortunate, is to help the people that need. But what they are doing, they're helping those who have. Those who have. I'm saying, but when you say, we'll see and analyze something, eh? Well, you as a businessman, you know when more people working in the village where you live in, and you have a business, you have a shop, you know it's beneficial to you. It's beneficial to you because when more people work in the village, they will come and spend your income make you make more money, more revenue from the shop. But when you have a government that came in and they send home people, it affects you as a business person in the shop. You understand? It affects you because less money coming to you, right? And it affects the whole village because what if it happen? You may be planting things in your garden, and people that are working to able to take care of their family, they're not working again. They come and rob you, and that could lead to violence.
Yes, scholar.
Right?
Yes.
So, Mr. Pep, the
Yeah.
government has to be careful what they do, and you have to know how to treat people the right way. So when you look at, I say again, the policies of a government is crucial of whether we go forward or we go backward. And the policy of government should be always to look after the poor and needy in the country. All right.
Yes, scholar, thank you very much, and that is important. And what we see a growing situation now in the Caribbean is the politician trying to expand the amount of jail sentence people get. The Minister of Agriculture calling our people lunatics and idiots. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes,
Mr.
scholar,
Pierre,
welcome.
good afternoon.
Yeah, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, I started cooking this morning. I left. Well, I was preparing a little bit. I know I had to go in the garden. I went to the garden. I finished in my garden about 20 minutes past 12. That's when I start to listen to the program. Because I thought I would have finished about just around 12. Just after I tune in. Well, okay, I had to go back and finish cook. I'm hungry right now. Eh? But listen, that's my preamble for a good reason. Just after I tune in, a lady called and asked the question, why is it these people hate Kit Mitchell so much? And I have the answer. So I'm trying to give it to you. And ladies and
Give
gentlemen.
us punch.
Mr. Pierre, when now there's a phone making noise in the background.
Go ahead, caller. We hear you
So
loud and clear. We hear you loud and clear. Go ahead. Punch,
Right.
because time is essence.
In 1984, after the demise of the revolution, 3 parties attempted to be formed. The original GNP, when Mr. Blaise came forward, the NDC, that was headed by Mr. Breezan, and I'll explain just now why and how this thing come about. And you had the GDM as Mr. Alexis. When the people who actually started the NDC is one called Oliver Jerome Joseph, who died yesterday, or 2 days buried. What is going on? I think it's today. And Mr. Bosu. These are the 2 people who formed the party that they call the NDC. They met me by my 2 cent shopping lappers, and we were talking politics. And they told me what was going on. They wanted to Brad Vision to head the party that they were forming. Eventually, they got him into the party. What happened was that they recognized that Mr. Gary, Uncle Gary, was still the powerhouse in the country. So they formed an alliance. And it was eventually called the
NNP.
Right. What happened was Mr. Blaise became the head of the party. And Kit Mitchell has been the blue-eyed boy of Mr. Blaise all the years. Because Kit Mitchell ran with Mr. Blaise in 1972 election on a GNP ticket. The young, brilliant Kit Mitchell. And when he came back into politics, and I will tell you another story in due time about that issue.
But you have to speed
Another
up.
angle of the story. Yeah, but listen. When he came back in politics, with Mr. Blaise in 1984, he became the envy of the other two leaders plus other people in the party.
He was the
Because he was
hardest
Mr. Blaze
worker.
blue-eyed boy.
He was the hardest
The
worker.
chosen one. But he was the chosen one. And they didn't like it. I used to be in parliament, Mr. Pierre, I used to be in parliament just about all the time parliament is being held around that time. And you could see the attitude of, well, I mean, when you talk about venom spewing inside parliament, Finley St. Louis, Marcel Peters, and Francis Alexis. That's where the whole thing started off.
Yes, Color, but time is... Color,
right, and
time is not we best friend.
I didn't hear you.
I said time is not our best friend. So we have to punch.
Right, I understand that. But I'm laying the basis for which I'm pointing out to you that these things started up inside the end.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Because remember, in 1990,
It's a long time ago.
The party split up.
Yeah.
And the NDP people went for themselves.
Yeah.
But you had Francis Alexis who went with them too. And they never stopped the preaching of the hate.
And it won't, Color.
It
won't. Because Kit was successful and they were
The
not.
party was established.
Yeah.
But Kit was the most successful of all of them.
Yeah, they were both in the
Remember, I'm
Commonwealth.
saying that he's Mr. Papa Blaze, blue-eyed boy.
Yeah.
He was the one Papa Blaze loved the most because he saw him as the future leader in the country.
We have to talk
And the
more about that
NDP
next time.
started right there.
We have to talk more about that and we have to start early.
Take care, sir.
Next time. Yes. We have a caller on the line. Caller, punch. And caller, you're running out of time, just punch. Done? Yes, caller, punch.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, go right ahead. Punch.
Yeah.
Time is...
Okay, when Dr. Mitchell said that he had $10 million for a reservoir in a Homer, that wasn't a lie. That wasn't a lie. Ask a question.
Well, I could answer you, no caller, but off there.
Answer me.
Okay. Yes, I don't know all the things that was said from political parties or not. From time to time, politicians stretch the truth. And politicians speak in a manner as if they plan something, but they do as if they absolutely certain you'll get it. So I never heard this thing about the reservoir in Oklahoma. I don't live far from Oklahoma sometime, but I've never heard that. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, punch. Caller, you're on your last few seconds. Punch.
And you take up my time? Mr. Pierre. You gone?
Caller, punch. Say what you want to say. Yes, that's the challenge you have. When you call the program, you punch. Particularly you speak already. You call, say what you want to say. If I call on the line? Okay, so caller, an hour is not long. And sometimes we have 10 callers in an hour. So you just punch. Forget the preamble. Say the most important thing you want to say first. Avoid the nice stories and just come with the facts or the information or your opinion. Just punch, And that we will be able to get things better without wasting much time. But again, the ECCB, Grenadians, you all must pay attention to the ECCB and the University of the West Indies. They're spending a lot of time and energy speaking about carbon emissions, and nothing is wrong with that. But there must also be a think tank to help governments in the Caribbean come up with concrete suggestions to make our people more competitive on the job market. Our productivity level in school is unacceptable. 70% of our children exiting school cannot have a basic education. The days when we had agriculture and fish as the main components of our economy is over. So if our children exit school at 16 and they are far cry from the basic requirement, they will be less competitive on the market. Governments in the past come up with the money program and Project Fly and what other projects to give our people a second chance. But the NDC don't like this program. I think they don't like it because the idea didn't come from them. And when they're in the wilderness, instead of they coming up with suggestions how to address the challenge we have, they're planning to lie. So when they're in government, it's difficult for them to think. They have more practice in lying than thinking. That is why they are avoiding the media. That is why they are running from answering questions. And they're making blunder after blunder. And every day, they're getting more greedy. So they're going after the people in the low income group, the most challenged group in the country. And these are the people the NDC always plan the lies against. But you know, we have to pay attention to the ECCB. And we have to pay attention to the University of the West Indies. And we have to challenge them to come up with suggestions. Come up with practical suggestions, workable suggestions to improve the productivity in school and to improve the competitiveness of the people looking for jobs on the job market. The jobs that are available, our children do not have the skills and talent. And we have to make academia know. You see how little making children. So even though you all have big house and living in gated communities like Jamaica, you're going to have to declare state of emergency to survive. And your bright children go end up making children for our children that is not competitive on the job market. And when you get old, they go treat you just as how you're treating the elderly in Grenada now. They might take the bread from your plate as how you violently remove $150 from the elderly and the physically challenged, and you take money from disadvantaged children. Those are the issues. Those are the issues. We can't run away from it. No matter how much certificate you have, if your neighbors cannot eat, you would not be at rest. They go rob you. Particularly when they smell the nice chicken that fat people was line up for. They go rob you. And that is the reality. And your sons and daughters going to find these people who can get a job on the market very attractive. Well, they must play job with them anyway. So that is the reality. And I believe as we come to the end of our program, we must remember, in a program in 1 hour, you call and you punch. Don't make long preamble. Call and punch. And as we agree on, yes, thank you very much. We're back with you next week between 12 and 1 for another program. Remember the extension tomorrow. Master Carl is back on the extension. Thank you very much.